Good morning, everyone. Clint McLaughlin here, Midwest Market Management. I've got Riley Sykart on with me here today. We are going to hop into U.S. weather from a national yield perspective. Riley, we had some enthusiasm early in the week, a lot of heat moving in. It's a sauna here in Wisconsin, not two terms you normally put together, Wisconsin and a sauna, but it is a muggy one here. But overall, it feels like the market's kind of tempered on the idea that this heat's going to move in with any kind of lasting influence. What do you see?
See something very similar. I mean, there's no doubt we're going to be hot over the next 5 days, and areas that are dry right now are definitely hurting. But so much of the US and the growing area right now is well watered to the point where a week of this can be stomached. It's 2 to 3 weeks of this before it becomes a real issue. And as of right now, that doesn't look to be the case. So with that said, let's dive into the weather maps and what we see. So first thing I do have before we get there, though, crop conditions did come out yesterday afternoon. Corn and beans both down 1. I think the things to really note are the rains in the west definitely helped out crop conditions. Nebraska up 6, Kansas, South Dakota, North Dakota, all of them improved. And then out east, starting to struggle a little bit. Indiana down 7. Then Ohio just getting up to more normal ranges compared to where they were. So them being higher didn't shock me either. Bean side of things, conditions down 1% there as well. Kind of a similar story. The west improving a little bit more than the east declining. I would say at this stage of the game, Clint, as you're going out and looking at fields and talking to a lot of customers and just farmers in general, there's a lot more hope, I think, right now in the corn crop than there is the soybean crop. So some areas with wetter feet have had some bean issues and they don't look as whippy, but corn, from a lot of people I've talked to, there sure is a lot of hope out there for record-breaking crops still. So moving ahead here into the 1 to 5 day temperatures, this is something that we all knew was coming. A lot of averages in the upper 80s to 90s over the next 5 days. It has actually cooled down a little bit from the maps we were looking at even last week, but I would say a little bit less of a posted temperature, but more humidity has came than what was originally expected. So 6 to 10 day, still very warm in the west, but as you go to the east, starting to cool off, temperatures into the more mid 80s, which is, in terms of growing conditions, about as ideal as it gets as long as you have enough rainfall. So that is the moral of the story is temperatures are hot right now, but it doesn't look to be sticking around for too long unless you're in the west. And I do understand the west is where they're the driest and need the most rain, so we do need to watch them very, very closely. But they have had a decent amount of rain. As we look at the last 2 weeks of rainfall, you can see Nebraska, some areas 4+ inches of rain. Kansas, South Dakota, North Dakota, they've all, once again, they just keep putting that Band-Aid on, Clint. I feel like we bring this up all the time. They're getting just enough rain to keep them going so they can make it through a short-term heat stint. So moving ahead here to help out, especially South Dakota, 1 to 5 day shows more rainfall there to help them out, as well as northern half of Nebraska. So those regions that are going to just keep getting enough to keep them bided by and not really having any real struggles so far. I mean, they're dry. There's definitely crop stress out there, but not what it could have been. So then as you're looking into Iowa, Minnesota, Wisconsin, more rain falling for those states as well. And then the east, where they've been too wet, actually starting to dry out and maybe get to where they want to be as well. So the 1 to 5 day in terms of farming and growing a good crop, very, very helpful in terms of a national yield perspective. Yield potential, I would say, compared to last week, actually is turning out better than what you would have guessed. I think yield potential is still pretty high, Clint. And from the market perspective, good yield potential, not so good for the markets. So the big report we're having here today will maybe turn something upside down. But as of right now, there's not really anything in this weather outlook to spur the market. So then the 6 to 10 days shows some more rains down in the Delta and in the Midwest, kind of just some little spotty, blippy areas, not really anything that you're looking at and getting too excited about there. So then when you put it all together in the 1 to 13 day, Clint, you've mentioned it more than once that this is the map that's really important to look at. And from a market perspective, when you see that much color, and at that point you're getting into the 13th of July, that makes it really tough for a weather rally to start. So with that said, that's all I have for weather maps today, Clint.
Sounds good, Riley. Well, I appreciate you putting them together, and it's from a marketing perspective, things are looking pretty bleak right now. But I will say it's we still have a lot of growing season ahead of us, and we've really done a lot of damage on these prices here in the near term. So from a weather perspective, I could be wrong. There's still plenty of room for beans to fall, I reckon. But we will see. A lot of time ahead of us yet, and we'll see where we end up. So I appreciate everybody tuning in. Clint McLaughlin, Riley Sykard, Midwest Market Management. Thanks a lot. We'll talk next week.
This material has been prepared by a sales or trading employee or agent of Midwest Market Management and is in the nature of a solicitation. This material is not a research report prepared by of Midwest Market Management Research Department. By accepting this communication, you agree that you are an experienced user of the futures markets capable of making independent trading decisions, and agree that you are not and will not rely solely on this communication in making trading decisions. Distribution in some jurisdictions may be prohibited or restricted by law. Persons in possession of this communication indirectly should inform themselves about and observe any such prohibition or restrictions. To the extent that you have received this communication indirectly and solicitations are prohibited in your jurisdiction without registration, the market commentary in this communication should not be considered a solicitation. The risk of loss in trading futures and/or options is substantial, and each investor and/or trader must consider whether this is a suitable investment. Past performance, whether actual or indicated by simulated historical tests of strategies, is not indicative of future results. Trading advice is based on information taken from trades and statistical services and other sources that of Midwest Market Management believes are reliable. We do not guarantee that such information is accurate or complete, and it should not be relied upon as such. Trading advice reflects our good faith judgment at a specific time and is subject to change without notice. There is no guarantee that the advice we give will result in profitable trades.